In Russia, the news explodes with Tony Stark's shocking declaration, he is Iron Man. This revelation catches the attention of a man watching in a dimly lit apartment, surrounded by old, dusty blueprints. Ivan Vanko, son of the late Anton Vanko, a former Stark Industries employee wronged by Tony's father, Howard Stark, clenches his fist as he watches. Anton had died in poverty, filled with bitterness towards the Stark family. Fueled by rage and the remnants of his father's old blueprints, Ivan decides to craft a weapon powerful enough to take down Iron Man himself, a miniature arc reactor, just like Stark's. 6 months later, Tony Stark is on a high, basking in the limelight of his Stark Expo in New York City's Flushing Meadows, Corona Park. The Expo is a celebration of innovation and a tribute to his father's vision. But behind the competent facade, Tony harbors a grim secret. The palladium core of his arc reactor, which keeps him alive, is also slowly poisoning him. His energy levels are dropping, and every use of the suit brings him closer to death. Desperate and unable to find a substitute, Tony grapples with the prospect of his impending doom alone. He promotes Pepper Potts to CEO of Stark Industries, distancing himself from the business, and hires a new assistant, the sharp and seemingly innocent Natalie Rushman. In a surprise move, Tony decides to race at the Monaco Historic Grand Prix. But the adrenaline of the race takes a dark turn when, from the crowd, Ivan Vanko steps onto the track, wielding electrified whips powered by his own arc reactor. The world is stunned as Vanko tears through race cars like paper, the whips crackling with deadly energy. Tony barely manages to suit up in his portable Iron Man armor in time. They clash, sparks flying as the crowd gasps. Though Tony ultimately subdues Vanko, the suit is heavily damaged. As he's dragged away, Vanko smirks and says, "If you can bleed, you can be killed." It's a chilling reminder that Iron Man isn't invincible. Impressed by Vanko's skills, and driven by jealousy, Stark's rival Justin Hammer fakes Vanko's death and stages a daring prison break. He recruits Vanko with a deal, build him a fleet of armored suits to outshine Stark. But Vanko has his own plans. Instead of suits, he creates drones, cold and merciless machines, removing the human element and focusing purely on destruction. Meanwhile, Tony spirals deeper into despair. At his birthday party, he dons the Iron Man suit, not as a hero, but as a drunk, reckless partygoer. His best friend, Lieutenant Colonel James Rhodey Rhodes, intervenes. Rhodey dons a prototype Iron Man suit to restrain Tony, leading to a brutal showdown. The guests flee as the two armored friends clash, the mansion shuddering under the impact of their blows. In the end, Rhodey flies off with the suit, leaving Tony in a cloud of self-loathing. The next morning, Tony receives an unexpected visit from Nick Fury, director of S.H.I.E.L.D. Fury unveils a shocking twist. Natalie Rushman is actually Natasha Romanoff, a top S.H.I.E.L.D. agent assigned to keep an eye on him. Fury hands Tony a box of old notes and videos from his father, Howard Stark. Tony learns that his father and Anton Vanko once worked together on the arc reactor, but when Anton tried to sell it for profit, Howard had him deported. Ivan's vendetta was born in that moment. Sifting through the relics of his father's past, Tony uncovers a hidden secret. A model from the 1974 Stark Expo reveals the atomic structure of a new element. With JARVIS's help, Tony synthesizes the element, creating a new core for his reactor that halts his palladium poisoning. The process almost kills him, but he emerges stronger than ever, with a renewed sense of purpose. At the Stark Expo, Justin Hammer unveils his masterpiece, Vanko's drones, led by a heavily armed war machine, piloted by Rhodey. The crowd cheers, but Tony arrives, warning Rhodey that Vanko is controlling everything. Just then, Vanko hijacks the drones remotely, sending them into a rampage. The expo turns into a battlefield as Iron Man and War Machine, now back under Rhodey's control thanks to Natasha's quick hacking, team up to battle the deadly drones. In the chaos, Hammer is arrested, exposed for his collusion with Vanko. But Ivan has one last ace up his sleeve. He dons a new, heavily armed suit, more monstrous than any before. The crowd scatters as Vanko faces off against Tony and Rhodey in a final, explosive showdown. The fight is intense, with drones falling like rain around them. Finally, Tony and Rhodey manage to entangle Vanko in a massive explosion, but not before Ivan delivers a parting shot. You lose, Stark. This was never about winning for me. Vanko triggers a self-destruct, blowing up his suit and all the drones. Tony barely manages to fly himself and Rhodey to safety as the sky lights up with fire. As the smoke clears, Stark lands amidst the debris, the cheers of the crowd mixing with the ringing in his ears. In the aftermath, S.H.I.E.L.D. debriefs Tony. Fury, though impressed by Tony's heroics, is wary of his erratic behavior. He offers Tony a consultant role rather than full membership in the Avengers Initiative. Tony, with a half-smile, quips, "Consultant? I don't play well with others, but I'll consider it." Rhodey and Tony stand together, medals gleaming on their chests. Their friendship, though strained, has grown stronger through the ordeal. Post-credits scene twist. In the vast, desolate deserts of New Mexico, S.H.I.E.L.D. agent Phil Coulson investigates a crater. He stares down at the massive object lodged in the ground, a hammer, immovable and glowing faintly. Coulson radios Fury, "Sir, we found it." The screen cuts to black as a distant roll of thunder echoes, hinting at the arrival of something far beyond the tech of Stark Industries, setting the stage for a new kind of hero.